The Mac is dying and Apple is the one who's killing it. I'm Scott with Techno Eclipse. If you want to join the Techno Eclipse community and you want your tech commentary that's passionate, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode. I think I threw my back out. So obviously Apple is unintentionally killing the Mac, but they are. And the way they're doing it is by introducing iPads that are more powerful than their Macs. They have sort of shown that they don't really care about the Mac users that much. Obviously, I made a whole video about that, complaining about they don't treat their pros very well, but they're not really treating everybody really well. They haven't updated the iMac. The MacBook Air is an absolute joke. They haven't updated the MacBook or even the base model MacBook Pro. They've just shown a complete disregard for the whole Mac lineup in general. Obviously, the Mac Pro hasn't been updated since 2013. It's sort of just been shown that Apple doesn't care that much about the Mac. It makes sense if you were making all of your money on one or a handful of products that support one product. Why would you sort of push one product that doesn't really support the other product? When you think about it, the iPhone is made better by the iPad, an Apple Watch, AirPods, HomePod technically, and even you could throw in like the pencil because it makes the iPad better. But in general, the Mac makes an iPhone better. But if you have an iPhone and you don't have a Mac and use a Windows computer like myself, I've noticed that I'm not really missing out on too many features. I miss macOS because I just like using macOS, but I'm not missing out on all these great features that supports my iPhone. So the reason that Apple is sort of killing off the Mac is just the way that their company has been going for a while. Apple has sort of always wanted this, and it's sort of becoming more and more true. You can see it with the way that they are pushing the iPad Pro as a pro device. What's a computer?
What's a computer?
They're killing off a computer. What's a computer? That ad where the girl's going, what's a computer? It's weird because they sell computers. They sell an iMac, they sell an iMac Pro, they sell a Mac Pro, they sell a MacBook Pro, they sell a MacBook Air, they sell a MacBook. They sell all kinds of computers, yet they're sort of ripping on computers in their own video, and they were built as a computer company. You could just sort of see that Apple wants iPads to be the future. The iPad is going to be the next Mac. My opinion is that you're starting to see the beginning of it. They're porting over apps from either macOS to iOS for iPad, or the other way around, where they're starting to merge the two and they want those lines to become crossed, which is which, and then they'll probably eventually just switch it all over to one OS. They're probably going to call it Apple OS. I guarantee it. Mark my words, on November 28th, 2018, Scott said this. Obviously, the apps that they've ported over are either Adobe porting over Photoshop, and maybe porting isn't the right word, but I'm using that anyways. They're moving Photoshop onto iOS, and that just means that Adobe is going to be moving the whole Creative Cloud over pretty soon. So we're going to see Premiere Pro, Audition, blah, 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 blah. All those apps ported over onto the iPad's version of iOS. And we've also seen iPad apps and iPhone apps actually moved over to macOS with news and stocks. And I think there were a few more. And I know at WWDC they mentioned something about possibly running iOS apps on a Mac. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they mentioned that, but that was like 5 months ago, so correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure they mentioned something like that. Even if they didn't, it's probably coming very soon because it makes sense. Why would they have two operating systems when they're really only pushing one device? They're pushing a super thin and light and mobile and portable device, the iPad Pro. With an iPad, you get that same excuse that all Apple sheep say about the MacBook Air and the pricing. It's $1,200 for a dual-core processor in 2018. Yeah, but it's thin and light and can do everything I need. I don't need 4 cores. Okay, well then buy an iPad. Why on earth would you even buy the MacBook Air? Oh, I need Thunderbolt 3. For what? You got USB Type-C on the iPad. Give me a legitimate reason for using Thunderbolt 3. And if you say an eGPU, I'm going to slap you because that CPU should not be utilized with a GPU. I'm not going to slap you, but I'm going to give you a virtual slap in the comment section. I'm sure there's like a slap emoji. I'll just throw one of those down there. And maybe everyone is starting to see this trend a little bit. Obviously, we've seen Apple just push mobile. That's what they want. They want iPads, they want iPhones, they want watches. They want you to be able to do everything from an iPhone. And then if the more power users need to be able to use an iPad, that's why they introduced USB Type-C, because they knew that that new iPad that they introduced is going to be the MacBook replacement here in the next few years. We always talk about that ARM MacBook. I think what we're really going to see is probably just an ARM iPad that might be running some version of macOS that's like touch-based. That's what I think is going to be happening. Obviously, the Geekbench scores are crazy with that, but it's up to software and programmers and all those people to take advantage of all that hardware. So we're not going to really see the iPad Pro fully utilized until probably a couple years from now. But it's interesting to see that Apple is killing the Mac intentionally, maybe unintentionally, but probably intentionally. It's not any other company. Dell isn't the one that's like, ha, we got you, Apple. Because there's no replacement for a Mac unless it's running iOS. Because a Mac is totally different than a Windows computer in the sense that it's running macOS and a Windows computer is running Windows. Just because you can upgrade a Windows computer doesn't necessarily make it better. A Mac computer, I have problems with them and the way that they treat their customers, and I have some of the problems with the way they price their stuff and the way that they market it. It's frustrating, and I think some of the people are just caught up in I love Apple so much that they can't really see that they're kind of getting pulled through the mud sticks or something. I don't know. It's just frustrating sometimes, but I think the push towards completely mobile is really cool. Apple wants fanless, zero moving parts. They've pretty much always wanted that. That's why the iPhone has been so popular. That's why they developed the iPhone. They want a computer with zero moving parts. The MacBook is probably Apple's favorite computer that they've ever designed because there isn't a single moving part in that entire computer. The iPad Pro is a computer. Yeah, not technically a computer by the standard definition, but it's a computer because it has CPU, GPU, RAM, motherboard, storage, screen, interface, everything like that. And it has zero moving parts. It's the size of like 2 cards stacked on top of each other, and it can have all that horsepower under the hood. It's really amazing, obviously. But I think this is the trend Apple wants. It's the way they're going. I think it's kind of cool. I'd like to know you guys' thoughts about it. Are you sad that they're probably going to be killing off the Mac? I know it's such an iconic thing. Maybe they wouldn't ever officially kill it off. Like, maybe they'll always sell some type of Mac computer with just an updated processor where they just sort of give it to the people who they know will buy it and they don't really manufacture anymore. I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. I'm Scott with Techno Eclipse, and remember, if you want to join the strongest community on YouTube, all you have to do is kick that like, subscribe button. I think I pulled something. Ow, my side hurts. I'm in such terrible shape. Just do whatever. Just hit the subscribe button. All right, see you guys in the next one. Peace out.